Hello, what's up, everybody?
Hey, what's up? How you doing?
Yo, welcome to the
L.A.B.
L.A.B. Africa
Podcast.
podcast. So this is where we share and encourage young Africans,
Entrepreneurs, yeah.
African entrepreneurs to make businesses and to scale up their businesses, and we do this. And sorry, not just entrepreneurs, but artists as well.
Yes.
Yeah, because that is what we do: life,
Arts
arts, and
and
business.
business.
And we do this by sharing our experiences as entrepreneurs and as artists, and we bring
Yeah.
on board different personalities in
Amazing
the
people,
entrepreneurship
man.
space and the art space, and then sometimes even about love,
Yeah.
and so we talk about all of that. And so I'm your regular host, Martinson,
And I'm Judah Domino.
my co-host, and thanks so much for sticking with us.
Yes.
Today we have a special guest in the house, and he's both of us our mentor, right?
Yes. He's our boss.
He's both of us
He's
our
our
mentor.
boss.
Yeah, it's our boss, and we call him
Sir
Sir
Black.
Black. We knighted him here in Ghana.
Yeah, like the only nights in Ghana. Like, yo,
We
Sir
knighted
Black.
him here in Ghana, Sir Black. And just a little bit more about him. His actual name is Benedict Kojo Kwe, or AKA Yibor Kojo Yibor. Yeah, and he's the personality feature for this episode. We're going to be talking about his life, and hopefully touch on the subject of surviving as an artist in Ghana or on this continent of Africa. Yeah.
Yes.
So today's episode is, as you usually know, it's sponsored by Stylus Innovative Studios and
Traventure Experience.
Thanks. So before we start bombarding with more questions, let the intro
Roll.
roll. Okay, all right. So, Sir Black, Charlie, thanks for coming. Thanks for making it.
Yeah,
thanks for
Charlie.
making it. Yeah, it's good to have you. I mean, host the boss himself.
Charlie.
In here.
Today we're feeling good.
Yeah, on this podcast, on this
Yeah.
channel. Yeah, and so let me just tell you a little bit about getting to know Sir Black. So if you get into the poetry scene and then you don't hear of Sir Black or you don't see Sir Black, then you are not in the poetry scene in
Or
Ghana.
you just came.
Or you just
You
came.
just came and walking at the door. You're at the door.
You've not entered
You're
it.
not the scene yet. You're at the door.
So
Yeah.
a few years ago, Judah Amish, who has been on a podcast a couple of times, and myself, we started a poetry band, and then we're performing, and then people were like, if you guys are going to be legit, then you have to be on Sir Black's show.
Yes.
And then that is the Ehalakasa show. He founded it. He's going to tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah.
And then, we used to go there. We used to just be inspired watching other performers perform. I remember I used to actually bring some of my friends who come from France. When they come to Ghana, they want to get into the art scene. I'll bring them, then they would just enjoy it. I think those days where you had General Tetia as the MC and
Yes.
the other guys,
then
Dr.
Dr.
So,
So,
and then it was
yeah.
like really sometimes very hilarious, and then they usually enjoyed it.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah. So we have you here. Just please tell us a little bit more about yourself, and then we start, get into the conversation.
Okay, I go by the name. My official name is Kwe Kojo Benedict. Kwe is my father's name.
Okay.
Kojo because I was born on Monday, and then they gave me an English name. We call Christian names here.
Yeah.
But over the period, over the years, I also started to get into myself to find out exactly what I'm going to stand for as I grow as an artist. So the idea of me as a black person or a black man or human living currently in Ghana, I represent the skin color. So I just fell in love with the idea of black and deliberately going, I'm a Pan-Africanist. And so I thought, what would I do to live it almost like every single day? Then I thought, okay, I should just represent that by what I wear.
Oh,
And
yeah.
so I landed myself at this place where I've been doing this over a decade.
Yeah.
It's been more than 20 years. So my stage name actually is Black, born on Monday, Black.
Black.
That's what
Okay.
Yibor Kojo Yibor.
Okay. Black.
Yibor is black in Ewe.
Okay.
Ewe.
I thought you were Ewe though.
Yeah, I am.
Really? And you're
Kwe.
called Kwe.
Kwe is
Kwe is actually an abstract from a longer name called a Kwenyevo.
Oh, okay.
So my grandfather's name, and at school, I don't know whether it was school, my father's made school, whether they couldn't pronounce it well, but it was from this name that Kwenyevo, and then it was
Oh, right.
Kwe.
Oh, okay.
Form of that is
Oh, that's
also a
interesting.
name.
Yeah, yeah, it
And
is.
so it became what it is.
Oh,
And that's
interesting.
my name.
Interesting.
So, but that's my father's name.
Mm.
And so I just decided, okay, I want to live by this name, Yibor Kojo Yibor, as my signature name. But people also simply calls me Black, and I don't think I can say no to that.
I think it's being modest. It's black,
Say Black.
not just black.
Okay,
It's
he can
Seth.
call himself Black, but we will call him
Say
Say Black.
black.
Yeah,
Call me Black.
yeah.
Oh, that's an interesting one. That's okay. Oh yeah. So I didn't know Yubo actually meant black. Yeah. So it's
Yeah, I said no.
yeah. That's a good one to know.
Yeah.
So, how did you then? You were talking about representing yourself. How did you represent yourself when you started discovering who you are? Like, besides wearing black, how like how else did you? I know you represent us in different ways, but first, how did you start becoming this
Yeah.
popular black that we know?
I don't think I intended to represent myself in a certain way.
Okay.
I didn't come up in representing a certain way, but then
Okay.
I wanted to identify as something. And that's the first thing, the black idea that came up.
Okay.
But then also as I grew up, I realized that I have this skill in me being creative. I could draw. So right from primary school, I get the chance to write on blackboard for other students to
Okay.
write, notes.
Yeah.
So the teacher thinks I have a good handwriting, so I do that. So and then also you get some parts where you have to draw also some part or something.
Yeah.
And then I became very popular already in classroom because if you can't draw the one I draw on the blackboard, you have to pay me something to put it in your book for you. So I enjoy this drawing part of me, and it also began to open up, and I realized that no, I think I have this skill or this the gift of art. So later after junior high school, I got some artist friend who I started apprenticeship with. I mean, it took time, but then my interest knew definitely that I wanted to do art, so I got into that area, and then the journey began from there as a visual artist, like a sign writing, who later moved into visuals, and then grew from there before later the spoken word.
So when did you start this spoken word, or how do I call it, verbalist?
Yeah, that's another story. I must say this was somewhere the late 80s, beginning 90s. Yeah, late 80s, beginning 90s, like which is 1988, 89, thereabout. And I was with this fellowship. I mean, when we're growing, there's also this church groups fellowship. These were more like Christian youth fellowship. And so all my friends, my schoolmates, my previous school prefect was also in. So like it looks like a group where I could easily join. So I joined them, and then we started doing these services. But I realized that most of them were given the chance to preach, to talk in front of the other mates, and I was like to share also their thoughts on what the subjects were about. And I was like, for a while I thought I could also do that, but nobody gives me the chance. I became a little wild, and I was like, well, if this small classroom won't have you, go into the world and then do it. So I thought of this idea of going into the street. And I didn't know at the time what it was called Dawn Broadcast. At the time I didn't know. It just came on me, and then I just went into the community around 5, before 6 o'clock, before the dawn.
Yeah.
Just preach, also talk to people.
Oh,
Not
okay.
like church kind of preach.
Yeah.
For some reason, I got this flair and I started putting quotes into it. So sometimes you go and you finish and you are like leaving, and then somebody from the window from some story building, God bless you.
Yeah.
God, and I got validation. So let's
Yeah.
continue. So I did for some time, and then I realized that no, this is fun to do. So I started also going to high schools, like primary schools, also to
Okay.
ask if they will allow me to come on their Wednesday
Yeah,
services,
the
worship
worship. Yeah.
Wednesdays also.
Yeah.
I took those opportunities. So I mean, for me, it was just doing it and then just enjoying it at that time, not knowing there was something right
Something nurturing in there.
coming in there. So it was somewhere around. I mean, I'm talking about the spoken word part.
Yeah.
Somewhere in late before the 2000s, I had an exhibition. Actually, I had an exhibition at my first solo exhibition at Alliance Française.
Oh, okay.
I think 2004. But before that, there was one which was a group one at the British Council. That was before that, and then I showed my work, but I couldn't get a chance to do a piece that I had written. I wanted to. But the 2004 one, that's when I thought, okay, maybe let me share this thing I've written. I didn't even know at the time that it was called poetry, because I'm self-taught. So the things just come and then I just do them.
Yeah.
And then I contacted a few of my friends to also do this piece. They didn't need to memorize it, to just read it out, and that's what we did. And we shared it based on some of the pieces I have at the show. So you could relate what we're talking about with that.
portraits
And
with the
my
picture.
first piece I knew I wrote based on a piece was one painting called "Even If I'm Ugly, I'm Not For Sale." Yeah, that was the title of the painting. So I managed to do a piece. I mean, I wrote this long. I didn't know where the ideas all came from, but that was also the title for that piece, and I did it. So the encouragement after the show was like, "Oh, this is really good. I'd like to have you again." And then later, the next show, every month, Alliance does or hosts an artist to do a show. At the time, that was then, and so they will ask me if I want to do something at the opening. And so that also began to open opportunities for me. So for these times, there weren't any like poetry shows in the capital at the time. But then I knew definitely that some things were happening at some other places. But this was how my beginning was, like the dawn broadcast, the school worship, Wednesday services, and then later.
That's interesting. That's an interesting development there. The reason why I said it's an interesting development is it's kind of similar to my yeah, it's kind of similar because I remember at a point I started. So I think I started with going to school after I've forgotten which time of. So I decided I'll go back to my primary JHS and then hopefully share with them because I also then wanted to share what I've been learning from the scriptures mostly. So I would just they give me opportunity. So on Wednesday sometimes I would go, and then after it, when I went to universities, I was like, huh. I wait because I'm late sleeper and interesting. I'm an early
Wake up.
yeah. So early I also just get up on the Illegon campus and just roam around different blocks and then just so it was around I think also around that period that someone gave me an opportunity to join the music choir and then lead a song, and that was my first time like in front of like a real audience, and then that broke every fear I had before because the don't broadcast no one is like standing in front of you watching
so just
you
speak your mind and go.
yeah, but then after that it gave me that opportunity, and then I wasn't afraid of the stage or the platform or the audience.
I must say that somewhere also around 1993, there was this school that started at the Center for National Culture, Art Center, called Saturday Art School.
Okay.
And what it was on TV, I saw it, and then there was an announcement for young people who, after school vacates, they can always come to the Center for National Culture to learn music, dance, theater, drawing, painting, and almost all the creative areas that you are interested in.
Yeah.
And so I enrolled with that. I told my father I want to go there, and then by myself, I had bar actually because it was between 13 and 17.
Oh,
and at
okay.
the time I was 18.
Oh.
So I went, and today, yeah, I was 18, but I went at 17. Go through with it, doing the registration. And it was so good for me at the time. I must say that was also the first time that I had to perform also for an audience. During, after the period you do open day, where parents will come, and then the students, what they have learned, they will do the exhibition and then also perform. And I had to perform. Nobody from my family came at that show though, but then I was proud that at least I have something. And the piece I remember I did, it wasn't my piece actually. It was a piece I saw from my father's document on, it's on death, death, yeah.
Was it written by your dad or just?
I think it was written by a gentleman called Francis Dankwa. I don't know him actually, but the piece just resonated to my spirit, and I learned it because I knew that they were going to say we should perform something. So that piece was what I did, and I still remember the piece up to today. And it's really remember being
Wow.
Getting to the end, you give us some few lines of it.
come out. I mean, the title I still know, but we'll see.
That's interesting.
So 93 years, that was my first major breakthrough on stage, and it's been follow after that. Been like the next year we did another one again, and then just started to open up, and I was just doing it for fun until I started meeting other poets who were also doing the same.
Cool. Now you mentioned your life as an artist, developing it from school, and then after apprenticeship, and then this part where you went through. So how did did you think you wanted to make a career out of it, or making a career out of art also happened like as a chance? How did that happen?
Did you choose it or it chose you?
Oh, it chose you. Let's. Did you choose to become an artist?
Yeah.
Like as a profession, or like it just happened to you?
I don't know how to answer this question, but you and I know that in our society here, as we grow up and the things we are interested in, our parents don't even know that it is something that exists. And so I just liked it at the time, and I know, where we will be drawing, and that's where it ends. It doesn't go up like, okay, there is someone and call an artist because he draws. It just ends there. So it wasn't because I knew that I wanted to become this, but somewhere, somehow, the passion was still leading me into doing these things. And so it was later before I realized that, okay, you can actually go into apprenticeship in this direction. But one day it just dawned on me that, look, there should be school for this. But I never knew where I could find one at the time, because I was that kind of boy or child among my brethren who was the odd one. So everything is always by yourself, and you have to find a way to navigate through. But I watch the news, I read newspapers, once in a while I find something interesting and I follow. Those were also the times when Pan-African organizations were very popular around the late 80s, beginning 90s. They were very popular in town. And so I joined some of these groups, and then once in a while there's some poetry events somewhere you get to go to. So at the same time I knew that there was something coming up. And so it came to a level I realized, no, I think you are becoming an artist or something like that. So it was in the apprenticeship area, and then also at the time I was in a studio at my area, like a house small studio, and a man walked in and he just, for something, just told me, if you want to do this well or you want to go far, we try and go to a school
Okay.
because I was just doing road sign writing. So he encouraged me that I should take a course. So I did, I think, a 6 months course, a diploma course with a college called Uncle Art College. It doesn't exist anymore.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Uncle's Art College. And so that's where my visual part was. But then I still know that the performance area, I need to pursue that more. And so now small spaces started opening up with gigs and we started going. So we realized that I was still doing what it is, but I did not consider myself too much as an artist in that level until later. Yeah.
One surprising thing that happened recently was it the February performance? Was it when we do perform?
I think January.
Was it January?
It was January. Yeah.
And then so we met, and then you were sharing about your exhibition, your 3D exhibition. I was like, I had only known him as a poet.
Yeah,
I didn't know like he was in the visual. So it was like really surprising. Then you shared some of the pictures. I was like, oh,
So
that was an interesting one. I'm sure you'll be able to share a bit more of that exhibition with us. What was that exhibition about?
And I have this friend of mine called Boxer.
Okay.
Atukwamina Boxer. He have always wanted myself and him to do something. So like the last 3-4 years, he keeps, we have to do something. So it was mid last year, there was this idea that we wanted to do an exhibition together, and then I could not make the time very well because I had to leave for Europe, and so I was there and he was still like, yeah, we should do this. So I was like, okay, so when I come back, so I came back later and it was almost like everything started becoming again and I couldn't. So at the end of last year, I was like, look, I think we should be able to now do it. And I was like, look, if I don't also say, let's set a date, it won't come on.
Yeah.
And so we just set the date, beginning of January. So I quickly thought, okay, knowing I was in Europe around November, December last year, I was still contemplating what kind of work I can produce in this short time when I come. So I thought, okay, the title of the exhibition was When You Fall, which is calm, which means the skies is beautiful or heaven is beautiful. I mean, it's metaphorical, so the way you represent it. And so I thought, okay, being on the flight, you see, we all see how the clouds are. It's the only way we can see what the heavens could be and how it's represents itself to us. And so watching from the sky, see how the clouds, as if they are cotton. So this is the only image I had in my mind, thinking that, okay, if I can create something like that, then that would be really cool for people to experience in real life. So I had to go around in Germany looking for materials that can give that feeling of cotton, where you can do it in a form where you can walk through the space and then look on top of the cloud and under the cloud. And so I managed to do some experiment whilst I was there, and then I got this material and I brought it in. And so for a period of I think 6 or 7 days, I was working in his studio in Sawam. And I did some sculptures as well, some wooden sculptures as well. But then the main thing for me was the cloud that we did. So we did, and we hung it in the air, so people just walk through. And then also the hall we did it. We also painted the walls also in the form of a cloud. And so it was really like the setting for you to come in and feel some heavenly beauty.
From the picture I saw, it had a really interesting perspective. Like you wouldn't see it was a cloud, and you wouldn't see it was like a 3D cloud because you would think it's part of the wall. And then you move this way, and you're like, oh no, it's still there.
See, the wind will blow it a little bit, then it will move. It's really cool. I love it.
I didn't see. And you also do sculpture?
Yes, I do.
I can understand. Like the say is not. It's
He's earned it. He's earned it. Yeah, man, that's good. Now let's get into So we have a few questions. So we get into Ehalakasa, and then now, like, surviving as an artist,
Yeah.
as a in a career. So let's get into Ehalakasa, something that you started some years ago, which is been giving platforms to a lot of artists here in Accra and Ghana at large, and then pushing even them some of them out of the
Outside,
country. You
yeah.
know, just give us, how did you start it, and then, like, what was the whole idea behind starting the Ehalakasa?
Ehalakasa is something that we created. I must say that it wasn't by myself alone.
Okay.
I created it with a colleague, brother, friend. May his soul rest in peace. His death actually is called Nilamte Lamte.
Oh, okay.
Nilamte Lamte. Somewhere in August 1997.
Okay.
Yeah, yes, August 1997. Around Labadi, La Osu, between La Osu. I still have the spots in my eyes, and I know them very well. And so I went to visit him, and we were discussing, deliberating on the idea of what we do. I mean, at the time, it was me and him. We were able to do more of freestyling and that kind of performance style. So we're like, how do we call what we do as Ghanaians, as black people here? I mean, we know using words to create beautiful stories or it's poetry.
Yeah.
But how do we call it that it will represent us, it will look like us? And so this name thing we can also play with words a lot. So the idea of word, song, sing. He is also a musician as well. He does music too. So we know that definitely it won't just be poetry alone, because some people think poetry is boring, but then the music to it is a little interesting. So the words just came. I mean, we played over it for a while. We were just discussing. So the word came, Eha, then the La, and then the Casa. We also thought of some northern words as well, which will also represent the same thing. But to make the sound of the name catchy, it was the Eha, the La, and then the Casa that resonated with us. And then so we decided to just keep the word. And then the definition or the meaning for us at the time was Ehalakasa. It's street philosophy, poetry with music. We weren't people who are school. We weren't that. So we thought, it's also important to get the people who probably haven't been to school also to be represented in this art form. And so it's a street philosophy, poetry with music. That's where the original intent was born with. And then if we say Ehalakasa, you only have to respond. It lives in us. Because for the street, a survivor lives in them. They have to live by what they feel. And this is how it also came out. And later we discovered also that when a child is born into this world, nobody teaches the baby how to cry. Neither do anybody teaches the baby how to know that this is breast, suck the milk out of it. It lives in them. It lives in all. And we all have this inner instinct. And so this is the birth of it. And so we just decide, let's live by it. And so when poetry started, before it was an event we used to go to at the Radio Universe at the time. We go every Sundays between 5:30 to 6:30, and it was during that period when we finish and we come out of the studio, boys started sharing and spreading their feeling and then kind of expressing themselves, freestyling. Thought, why not? Fast forward, we need to get a place where we can rather meet and then share, and that's how come Nobuke was born. That's when we went to Nobuke to request for the space, and we started the Ehalakasa Talk Party there. At the time, it was just the talk party. So it was later, before when Martin was moving on from the studio and was going to City FM, we added the Ehalakasa to the name Talk Party. Because original name for the show there was Talk
Party.
Yeah.
So for our audience who don't know Nobuki, he mentioned Nobuki is actually an art gallery here based here, but I think it's a it's a
Government.
non-government, art space, and they were really helpful, I guess, to to the
And also,
beginnings
like,
of
because some of our viewers are not Ghanaians, so if Eha, what does it mean?
Eha actually is a Ghanaian word for song.
Okay.
Eha. Eha. If you want to say song in ever, you say Eha. And then La means sing.
Okay.
In Ga, another Ghanaian language, which means if you want to say sing me a song, La Milala. Also La. And then Casa is also another Ghanaian language called Chi or Akan. And Casa means talk or speak. So Eha, La Casa, song, sing, and talk. And this is the combination we put together to form the street philosophy, poetry, and with music.
That is very catchy. Eh?
Yeah. La Casa, I understand, is Spanish.
Yeah.
Home.
Yeah. Home.
La Casa
Yeah.
is Spanish. Yeah. But we didn't know that at the time.
Yeah.
We knew Ehalakasa.
Yeah. I think some of the foreigners, when you mention the face, they think you are speaking Spanish. They say La Casa? No, Ehalakasa.
And it's actually funny that you meet Ghanaians who you say the name and it sounds so foreign.
Oh, okay.
Like me,
La
the
Casa
was so foreign.
It was so foreign to them, but it's so here with us.
Yeah.
Just need to break it into pieces and then
Yes.
Eha, La, and Casa.
Yeah.
Ehalakasa.
It's because I think it's because when we are being taught how to construct words and stuff in school, we're not taught with the breakdowns of
down.
it, so we don't even understand
Yeah.
that some of the words we even speak, some of them are French, some of them are French and something put together. We don't even know.
Yeah. I fortunately had the opportunity to do that, so I like that. So for me, I do everywhere with French and with English. When I hear a word, I break it up to say, why is this? Why does this? What does it mean? What are the morph or the etymology? Where is it coming from? The origin, and I like that. But it was interesting. La Casa, I think that one there I couldn't catch it from the beginning.
You don't get it. You don't get it. Forget about it.
Yeah. Okay. So, as an artist,
Yeah.
I mean, you have the experience. You've done really incredible stuff. You helped a lot of artists grow their skills.
True.
Some of them even have an international platforms and all of that. How do you survive in this space? I'm asking this question, or we are asking this question, because we know the experience of being an artist in this country. It's not that easy. It's not.
And even in
so
Africa,
but how do you survive? Like, I'm saying it's not easy, but how do you survive?
Even in Africa, it is not easy because, like, I've hung out with guys from Kenya, from Uganda, like from Zambia. Like, the artist life, it's not something you like. It's something you dream and you see on TV, but then what you live
is different.
Is different.
So that's what we want to hear from you. Like,
Yeah.
how do you? Because you are like fully into it. That's
Yeah.
your life, as we know it. And so, how do you survive, live your whole life as an artist in Ghana and on the continent?
Yeah.
Which of the answers do you want?
No, the real one. Like, what do you want? Like the real one. Like, just be.
So maybe your story, and then how you survive, and then maybe after, then what you think young artists can do to survive.
Oh yeah.
Because the systems have changed.
Yeah.
From your time when you started.
Yeah.
And now.
Yeah.
It wasn't that long actually, but
yeah.
I mean. First of all, I must acknowledge that we have survived because God is with us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We acknowledge the Supreme Being who invisibly connecting and moving things so that you can have. He brings you into the company of people you need to know in order to connect you. That withstanding, I mean, I certainly believe also that I have come this far not because I knew that I was going to become an artist, or not because I had seen other people do what I want to do. That's why I probably might not have a certain expectation of what I'll have to be making. I never had that. You understand what I mean? I never had that, so I wasn't bothered too much was where I was going to get the money to be able to survive as an artist when I took the journey upon myself. I certainly just knew that definitely I'm loving what I'm doing and I'm moving on doing it. And so when you take a journey like that, the uncertain journey, you also get surprises along the line that wow, I didn't know it would happen like this, you know. So for me, this is how my story is. And so to ask the question, how have I survived? I'll say, I don't know. But I have. If you ask me, how much have I been paid or how much have I received here in Ghana with what I do, that I can say, not that much. But the question will come, so how have you? Like I said earlier, it's also by interventions of people I meet and the connections I get with people. Then you can maybe get some international gig or some gig somewhere or something. But because I also practice the visual arts, there are some interventions that come. And we all know when the Papa movement came, then we could relate what we've been having before.
To the Papa was
So I used to also get some Papas, and some Papa means movement.
movements, hustling, and then you just
There's this thing somewhere, this place, are you interested? Then we go to do it, can get something. So generally, this is how it has been. And it's not what we expected that it should be. We thought, since you say you're doing this, there must be opportunities that will open for you, and you are not the one who even supposed to ask, how much are you paying me if I do this for you? There should be a certain budget, but we don't have that kind of a system currently going on. It is now. At the time, we didn't have it. It is now that these opportunities are opening gradually for people. Okay, we have this budget for this project, or maybe this corporate or organization wants this group of people to come and perform for them, and then they take on that level. But I have been paid for my work outside of Ghana more than in
the
Ghana.
country. Wow. I think that's when I keep. We shared it from the last inflation. I was like, I'm looking more for foreign client than Ghanaian client because it seems like.
I think before you get that, you must also work on yourself to be able to be seen as someone who can fit on certain stages. That's what I discovered in Harare when I went for. No, actually, it was in South Africa when I went for a gig, and then a producer just saw me because somebody introduced me to him. Oh, there's an artist from Ghana. What he said was, I see you on our stage. That was all. And I think I didn't paint myself with poetry, but you understand what I mean? There must be something about you that because you have soaked into you the love for the thing, you don't need to say it for people to know that this is what you are or this is what you can become. So certainly for some reason, you know definitely that, okay, if I really do what I have to do, if I really give out what I have to give out, definitely would attract those who need that kind of thing to set me up with some situations. And I think these things happens in arts area a lot, not like corporate where you need to prove some certificates and some things. This must be the gift you have.
That's
Do we have to pause?
No, it's alright. No.
Okay.
Okay, that's good. Yes, I'm coming. Okay, go to grandma. So go and drink. Okay, good boy. So that is interesting to know that you actually kind of reap more benefit with your ads out of the country
than inside the
than
country.
within the country, and then I'm happy to hear that too because it shows
There's
there's hope.
There is hope.
there is
It
there
may
is
not look like it right now, but there's hope.
there is hope.
I don't think it's any different because there are those who are also here who are making money by gigs they play here. It's just the dynamic that for this one, he gets it from here. For these ones, they get it from here. And I think it shouldn't mean anything
I
different.
think it's like you said, it's based on the people you connect with.
That's the thing.
So if because I see a lot of, I have come to see a lot of paying poetry gigs. Back in the day, like in 2017, 2016, poetry gigs were around what, 5 CD or something like that. They were not costing much.
Yeah.
To
To
enter.
enter, yeah.
But currently, I see like 100 CDs, and
Yeah,
I've
it's
seen like
true.
some gigs even at Kempinski and all that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, good, like we are getting somewhere.
Yeah.
Because then in my head, and I hope this is true, the artist who is performing at a place which the gates fee is around 100 something is being paid
Yeah,
at least
well-
like five people's tickets.
Yeah.
At least
Yeah.
5 people's tickets. So that was 500 CDs,
Yeah.
which is close to 100. Back then it was close to $100.
Yeah.
Currently, it's around what's the name?
We can't even say
$70.
it.
$70, which is bad.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's okay, at least for a start, because we are getting somewhere. So
Yeah, it's gradual. The growth
can
growth
be
has been
better.
very slow,
It
right?
must be better than
Yeah,
must
it
be
must
better.
because the speed at which the poetry scene has moved up and the level at which the performers have add value on themselves, it needs to attract that kind of value back to them. You don't expect that someone who have worked on himself and has reached this certain level be begging you and be arguing with you and be challenging you on how much the person is valued. We don't need to. It means that the space is not putting that respect on the performer, and it has nothing to do with the performer and what he has become. It has a lot to do with you who can't accept and receive and believe that this person says he's worth this. Because if you ask him to prove it, he will. But you are refusing to accept it, which means there must be something wrong with those who are receiving it.
But also what I think is that if the person was not there, you wouldn't call the person to your gig. So because they are there, that's the more reason why you're calling them. So why is it that you don't give them
Yeah.
what they are like, what they deserve?
That's interesting.
But yeah.
Now let's get into how you are like influencing or impacting even the younger generation of artists and artists and poets or spoken word artists here in Ghana. You've in our earlier conversation you mentioned some of the things you do with the foundation or something like that sort, and some you are building actually like an art center or something like that sort. I mean, just give us more insight into what you are doing currently to
I think where Akasa is going and where you are going and what you're doing.
Yeah, I think there's a
Yeah, I mean, we have myself and a colleague of mine who is a German.
Okay.
We have this institute called Hadwa Art and Culture Institute,
Okay.
which was founded in 2010, but until 2013-14, we started building the space like a stage space, which we call the dome, or in a language called apata. It's actually built with only bamboo.
Wow.
Along the Atlantic in Apam. And so that space is there. It's actually a center for African artists and the world artists where cultural exchanges will be happening in the area of art, music, dance, theater, and the other art performances. And so that space was started with funding money. And so it has gotten to a place where you need other monies, but maybe not necessarily funding money, because the funding money has done what it has to do. And so that part is there. And what also I'm currently working or doing is that I've been like from the past been running with what Ehalakasa originally was at the beginning. It was to break grounds and then set up the platforms for people who feel they have the interest in expressing themselves to come up and then do it.
Yeah.
So over a period of 5 to 6 years, that was what was happening like regularly. It started like every month and later went to every 2 weeks and then came back to every month again for that period. And then we thought, okay, now people have come on the stage and then a lot of them who just don't have any idea. They come up, they see people do, and they also like, I want to also do. They write up their name. For that period, that was happening. Then later we felt that, okay, let's move it a little bit up. So we started doing what we call the Ehalakasa Plus,
Oh, okay.
which means that if you have to come up on stage, you cannot come now to read from your phone or to read from a paper, but you should be able to just perform without reading. And that plus also begin to generate a different kind of breed of people because it became more challenging and more interesting also for people to just like with that fire release, and when the audience hear and then see, they're like, wow, this is cool.
Yeah.
Then later from that, we decided also to move on to another level and then get it more interesting, where we introduced the slam.
Yeah.
Where we introduced the slam, we become more competitive. So over the period, there were interventions we were doing because we knew that we didn't have the original intent that this was where we are going, but we know that we are creating a platform for people to express. But as other groups were coming up, they were being birthed out of what we were doing. It means that we need to also readjust a little bit and find new ways of how and which directions we should be going. And so we decided also that now that it has become like this, there are a lot of people also doing the same thing, so we should find new direction. And the direction has now become that we look out for young people who are coming out of schools who are like 1 year to wait before they enter into university, nurture them for that 1 year, put them together as an ensemble, and then get them to perform shows, go on school tours and things.
Oh, okay.
Year ends, then we know that okay, you are at liberty to continue your life
That's
because now you're going
interesting.
to school.
That's
And so it's becoming now like an academy or let's say an ensemble where we get them, we look out for them, we go to shows, select them, and get those who are interested and help that to happen in that period and then move on to the next person. So we'll be just still in the same creating the artists for the community or for the industry. We don't really have an industry at the moment. So we creating, breaking grounds, fetching people, fetching the artists, and then getting them to come up, be, and then go back into the community and then feed
That's
into
very
the
good.
community.
That's very nice.
This is the only way that we can have a scene, because maybe that's a conversation because I'm going to come into something that I think those who are creating awards for poets and things like, and they don't know how poets are being generated or how they are being birthed and how they come onto the scene. If you start awards without these things, you only have awards and be awarding the same people all the time every year because you're not creating or producing them. But this is for another conversation.
Yeah, I think that's a conversation Jada and I have had sometime before. It was interesting, but I'm sure another time when we have opportunity we'll to talk more about it. Jada, you have any last
like
question
for me, like man, every time I talk to Say Black, I just my brain just gets blown away, and because I love.
You have some smoking, right?
Because I love every time what you do, and there was under, and it's always interesting and always, how do I call it, inspiring.
Yeah.
That always, whenever you do your gigs, there was another one you did recently at East Legon in the night.
Yeah.
We went to, that was amazing.
Yeah.
And
that's actually my first personal gig I have done.
Oh.
I've never hosted my own show, like a show that, okay, this is my show. I've never done that before.
So you're always in the name of the group?
No, it's just called Introducing Me.
Oh, okay.
That's the name of the show.
Okay.
Introducing Me. And I was believing God to also show that there is an other way we should be doing our art. And so the show was Introducing Me, an other way.
Wow.
I mean, another way.
Yeah.
It's and then order.
Oh, yeah.
Other way.
Yeah.
That we should be doing things we do.
Yeah.
And so it was to show that, and so you can see that the performances that I did were not that usual ones you will see. And it's not like from heaven, but then challenging yourself on stage.
Why is it not from heaven? Because like that everything we do as an artist, like I don't know which artist, even if you take drugs or whatever it is to write, it has to come from somewhere. Where does it come from? Because it's not from the.
There's a creative source.
Yeah,
there's a
creative
creative source. So it always comes from. So that's it.
The ideas of heaven.
But yeah, whatever the case, whether you're either in the clouds, or wherever it is, like it's still.
Yo, man.
But yeah, but you've been mad inspiring.
Yeah, it's been mad inspiring, especially what you're currently doing with the youth, with the Apatase projects and Ehalakasa. Like I see, I see how people these days, cause I don't get the opportunity often to be part of the Ehalakasa programs, but I hear and I see people eager to want to be on the platform, and then you've created that space for them where people now want to express themselves. And the last time I was there, I was like, yo, man, these are, because most of the guys who were performing, they were new to me, and like, yo, these guys are on fire. Like, yo,
you should have gone to the She Slam. Like, yo, that was crazy.
That was all female slam.
Yeah.
With about 15 young women.
Wow.
And was from across all backgrounds.
Yeah.
Really, really amazing.
I was that day I had planned to go because Jida said he's gonna go, and I did some rounds. But by the time I go home, was like an hour left for the program, and I was so tired. I was like,
it was
like, oh man. But that was good. That was good. That's good.
It's like I don't even have words. Like, so after looking back, because like we've been part of Ehalakasa since, like, yeah, we've been in and out of coming for your programs and stuff, and always I feel like that's also one of the things that has also kept us together, is because we have a platform to perform. Because every time when we call you give us a platform. Like, if there's something, you call us and tell us, yo guys, so there's something coming up for groups, like you guys should be on. And that is, I just want to say thank you.
No, thank you so much for responding to the calls. Because if we call and you don't pick up.
It's been amazing, and seeing how other people have grown. From the Joe
like Ugly, Akambo, like all these guys, like
and these are like guys, yo.
Yeah, you guys should, if you're in Ghana, if you're listening to us in Ghana, try and reach Ehalakasa and be at the event. If you are not in Ghana, I think there's online performances.
Online every Friday. Every Friday, check Ehalakasa on YouTube and also on Facebook. Every Friday between 6 p.m. and 7 p.m. Ghana time GMT, we are on the show, live show. And also every first Thursday of the month, we are the National Theatre's host place, and we haven't put together like 10 to 12 poets to share and then express themselves to the general public. So that happens also every first Thursday of the month.
The last time we came there, we walking around and we just saw some random, foreigners walking around. We just had to bring all of them. It was like, come and listen. And they seem to have really enjoyed it. And then it's a really wonderful experience myself, because it had been a while. I had been on the stage, you know. Yeah,
I think that was also our comeback.
Yeah,
like
kind of.
As
a team.
Yeah.
That was amazing, you guys.
Yeah.
It's amazing. With the guitar and
it's good, man. So thanks so much that you actually responded to the invitation to come, and it's great. It's honor to have the boss himself, the Sir himself, the Knight himself here, Sir Black, you know. So if you enjoyed today's conversation, if you get to learn, you were inspired by the conversation, then please share this podcast. If you are listening to us on Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify, or Anchor, just share it. And then if you don't know, we have the YouTube channel to the L.A.B Africa podcast on the YouTube. You can go there, share your feedback, the likes, subscribe. It encourages us to keep making this content, you know. And
like we always say,
let's make Africa great again. Peace.